Woody Allen that says, 90% of success is showing up, but that sort of ignores the 30 years of building up your neuroplasticity and your skill set
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
intuition and your experience and all those other things. Look at the sign in the back of me here, right? I'm not saying it's going to be easy because it is, a journey of building yourself and, adding skills and of course coming up with complementary management team. You cannot build a skyscraper alone. You can build a tiny house alone, but if you're going to build a skyscraper, most of the CEO's time is working on the business, not in the business, which means building the team, coaching up the team, long term planning and strategy, and aligning that team constantly on a monthly cycle with MBO, and then a quarterly and annual cycle to potentially adjust the strategic plan or pivot or add new products or whatever.
What if we were able to do business together? And I thought that is a great idea. How do we do that? I'm not quite sure. We have a lot of people in different industries, different experience levels, and of course, different locations, but mostly North America. I think North America leads quite a bit of the rest of the world, although we have some of our co-venture partners in Southeast Asia as well as opening up in Africa as well too. So the thought is, what if we're able to work together in some fashion, come together, and cybersecurity came top of mind simply because, as I understand, it's a multi-trillion-dollar space. Nobody's gotten a control of that. They're looking for, I think, 180,000 cybersecurity professionals. I think it's a huge number that they can't train them fast enough. And so when the opportunity came to be able to create a cyber academy or a learning center, then it allowed the opportunity to be able to actually step in and co-venture with one of our partners. So right now we have the platform with English. We want to scale it up to different languages, Spanish, French, Arabic. And so the opportunity is really expanding. And then it opened up that healthcare organizations were in need of cybersecurity protection, among other things too. And so what we did and put together is a space where we could have what we call the world of healthcare. And it's a platform that we created. It's a community platform for the healthcare executives, either the CEOs or administrative people, or even orthopedics that are looking for a variety of things. One of which is that they want to have a profit center and generate that. So we're on November 20th, we're inviting them to join us so that they can consider being part of that group. And so that's an offshoot of the co-ventures. And also being able to work with Bob Norton, who's here. He runs Entrepreneurs University with over 600 modules and has a lot of offerings, not just a CEO bootcamp, but also works with small, medium, and large size companies. So we'll hear more from him as well. Also, Consulting Ace has 12 different programs of government grants and commercial incentives that really can be used immediately. And so we're going to offer that to the healthcare community that we're developing, as well as VenOps, with compliance and risk management they offer. He's made an offer for healthcare executives to offer that for a year for free. There are some strings, there are some conditions that they step into insurance recovery, reimbursement, which is something that they would generate revenue from, that we have access to the vendors to be able to make sure they're compliant. And number three, that they do a pre-cybersecurity assessment, pre-assessment for cybersecurity. So that's going to be interesting as we kick that off on November 20th, and we're inviting them to participate. We're also working with Echo.ai that does emotional and mental assessments, language independent, culture independent, and even technology independent, because it only takes a minute or 2 minutes of just recording in whatever language they speak, whatever culture they have, wherever they're located. And they're working with governments, they're working with enterprises, they're working with teams. And if you can imagine, when you put this kind of information assessments with a team leader, they can navigate the waters of the projects that they have, the challenges that they have, and bring the best to the table. Sort of like the birds flocking together. You bring the best people to the front to lead, but you don't know who they are unless you do an assessment. So those are the things that we're looking for to develop a lot more. What I'm looking for is more CoVenture partners that could join us in our community. Here's Wings for Wishes that Edie Rather provides. She offers the recordings for free for children. And it's in English, and that way they can be motivated. And that's a great value. And also, we're working with Blackbird Global Foundation that's in 5 continents, either 4 or 5 continents, but they're expanding quite a bit. Tremendous space in the African continent. And they've raised multi-billion dollars for what they stepped into, a healthcare environment. So there's many other areas. What I'm looking for is CoVenture partners, but more importantly, we're kicking off a mastermind session for not just entrepreneurs, but also leaders. Anybody that has a business, number one. Number two, that has some product or service that they offer currently. And number three, that they're willing to do a revenue share. So we have a mastermind for that. And we're embracing AI, artificial intelligence, and soon generative AI as we step into the future. So going on in real estate that we should be aware of and know? You've got an audience of executives here. Daniel, go ahead.
I tell you what, you guys are way beyond my pay schedule. You guys have really outperformed. The real estate industry is going through quite a bit of changes at the moment. I don't even think that it's still gelling as far as changes that initially hit us starting in August, as far as written agreements with buyers. So we're experiencing that. I have a small brokerage, about 10 agents. I sell residential and commercial. In fact, I'm coming out to look at a $2.5 million property right now. What we've experienced and enjoyed the best real estate in the last 4 years. Okay. And I don't see it slowing down. All we have to do is wait for buyers to accept the fact that interest rates are not going to get much lower than they are now. 6, 7, 8, those are great interest rates. I've told people anything under 10 is something they should be happy with. The housing market in our area is really moving forward. It's driven by the fact that rental situations are really tough to find. If the rental market gets and builds more housing for renters, we might see the market slow down for for sales. But while they're still cramped, people don't want to live with each other, and the housing units that are there, some of them are actually making improvements and able to get more rent. Others are just asking for more rent and not doing anything. So that is what causes the people to want to get out of the rental unit.
The opposite is true in commercial, Daniel, but obviously that's not what you're looking at. There's a disaster in commercial, and there's shoes still ready to drop because of the work from home trend. I don't have real-time data on this, and obviously markets are local, but between China and the US, there's trillions of dollars of companies going into bankruptcy or having forced sales at a lower rate.
Sam has a technology business dealing with 4 locations. You mentioned California, Canada, multiple sites. You're involved with SAP, also medical devices. So you've got a lot of different things going on, Sam. A few different companies. So I wonder if you could say more about what are the big ideas, and maybe pick an industry, because you have various companies. Pick an industry,
Yeah,
maybe the one
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the biggest moving. Share what are the big ideas in that, opportunities, and how are you showing up, Sam?
We see, that there's a lot of push, and my focus is more on the technology company, which is Sapsol Technologies. So both all the three big players, which is Microsoft, Oracle, and SAP. And SAP is the biggest in the ERP space, which is large scale enterprise applications. They have given a deadline to most of their clients to move from the on-prem, which is a server sitting in your office, to a server farm, which is a cloud-based data center. The reason being, they want to scale the software to AI enablement, right? So once, for example, if you have a 50 gig of memory on your local server and you want to scale on elastic basis, that means on demand basis to a 1 terabyte, you won't be able to do it on your server. But if you move to a cloud solution, then you can scale it up and down, and then we can create AI bots for them to optimize process of supply chain, human resources, fastest way to do something, or quality check something, the best algorithms we can generate for them. So our focus is to move most of the clients. There are 500,000 in the ERP space, all the Fortune 500, all the big banks and the government. So we're trying to get few of the large contracts to move these clients to the cloud and then to AI. Typical ticket size is $1 million to $10 million for each client for us. And we do offer fractional chief marketing officer. We kind of, for referrals, we pay 5% of our billing value for the first year. So that's what we are trying to do. Our focus is purely to move this because we have a window of opportunity for the next 3 years to move people to the cloud from 2024 to 2027. And then 2027 to 2030, we expect them to start building the AI functionality, machine learning, deep learning. So you can basically speak to the system, say, hey, what is the fastest way to deliver and the cheapest way to deliver? And it'll kind of give you, it'll not just give you the answer, it'll also set it up on the system for you. So the supplier is informed and then picks up the goods and it delivers in the fastest possible way and the cheapest possible way, right? And it also depends on the type of good. For example, if you have explosive or something that's breakable, then you'll also create the packaging purchase order and get all those material and schedule everything for you. So that's our goal ultimately. And we are looking, to ramp up our sales team to enable that. We have strong delivery team, but we lack sales. And we hired and fired 7 VPs and directors, so we're still looking for really, really good, strong salespeople.
Yeah, well, you're obviously a good salesperson. Can I put in the chat box our World of Healthcare platform that you could join us? What kind of medical devices are you involved in that you're
Okay.
interfacing into the rest of the company with AI?
Yeah. So Raghi, we originally thought of IoT, but we ran into an issue of so we do software, right? We do very good in software. We are not good in physical manufacturing. Just like Elon Musk was doing good when he was in the PayPal because it was software, but when he had to make cars, then that means it's a whole different ballgame. You have to have mechanical equipment, you have to have manufacturing and molding machines, and you have to have CNC machines to lathe and improve them. And then you put a circuit inside that with the software for them to move like a robot, right? So the challenge for us on the medical device side is we are not from the manufacturing background. We do not have factories which we can. So we outsource. We can design products. So we send it to China. So we are launching one of them, which is like a very, very small device because we built a small EV and it didn't work out for us. The Chinese guys put the whole software on the data center and said it has to run through our data center. So we really got pissed off. We wasted a lot of money for that. So we are trying to kind of build things locally, but because of the POC, the proof of concept, the prototype is still getting done it from Mexico, China, and India because it's just want to have lower costs of doing it. So we built a small, we patented and designed a small clipper just to kind of experiment. It's a nail clipper with a 360-degree swivel head and a magnifying lens, and we're just going to launch it on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. We have patented and trademarked the product because it's designed from scratch, and hope that kind of works out. And then we take baby steps. We move back from the EV to something very, very small, we thought, and then we'll kind of start moving forward from there. And then, some breathable devices we have in pipeline. And then we had massage gun, which we built with a hot and cold head, which was also copied when we sent it to China. They copied and mass marketed it. So that was again, so we learned our lesson. So we're just going to be extra cautious moving forward. And it's a slow journey, because I do run other companies too, and it's difficult to find people who are really hardworking, sincere, and passionate about the job. Most of them, we find that they're there for a 9 to 5, and just pay me my salary. So the ownership all comes on the owners.
Right, exactly. Well, you're in a fast-moving environment. I want to welcome Cindy Stevens has joined us. We're talking to Sam. He's the owner and founder for multiple companies, mostly technology, although he's got medical devices as well. So, Sam, I'm just curious, obviously, driving business, it does take salespeople, but you seem to be the best salesperson there, just like Elon Musk. He's the best salesperson. I think with AI, if you could embrace that a little bit more and complement maybe having a community of your ideal clients. Well, who is your ideal clients? Because all the major companies already are in the cloud space. So you're probably approaching the small, medium-sized companies. Would that be right? Or who's your ideal client?
Yeah. So our ideal client, so we're doing an oil and gas project, greenfield project, where we kind of did, so the ticket size is $2.5 million. And then we implemented their entire legacy system, put everything into one system. And that's an oil and gas company. And they have specialized requirements for compliance, right? So we specialize on those. We also, so there was a company called Dionex, which is a medical device company, like, Medtronics. We implemented for them as well. So our ideal client would be below $1 billion, where we can do turnkey solutions for them, because we can kind of focus and give them better value for money, because we use the same consultants that IBM, Accenture, and Deloitte and HP use, but we charge half the money just because we are smaller, we are more focused, and we are more specialized. We are just a plumbing company. We don't build the whole house, right? So we focus on our core competence and then try to do whatever best we can and deliver maximum value for money for the clients, right?
Yeah. Well, I still didn't hear a differentiator, but I get the ideal clients. But let me open it up to see if anybody has a question, comment, thought, feedback for Sam. Anybody?
Yeah, absolutely. Sam, you don't have a sales problem. You have a hiring salespeople problem.
Okay.
And that's very different.
Right.
Your mental set is
Right.
failing to understand the root cause of your problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you're paddling faster, but in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I got you. So what we have hired, so we've got a few companies, which is, we have a lead generation company, we have an appointment setting company. We also have another company which is like, we just focus on setting up appointments with CXOs, CIOs, and they would do like 30 to 40 appointments, very, very focused, where we know what are they looking for, and we do a POC, proof of concept, for them, and then demonstrate to them. But we only
Sam, stop. Sam, stop. You just proved my point, because you pivoted again to sales instead of understanding your problem is hiring. You need to look at top grading and hiring people, and you probably need to find a fractional chief sales officer or VP of sales to help you find someone,
Mm-hmm.
because
Okay.
you've admitted you failed 7 times at that in a row, and you still haven't acknowledged it as a problem.
We do. I mean, that's the major pain point for us. So we have outsourced we have hired specialized company to recruit for us, which only does sales recruitment. And they
And they're
specialize in
not going to solve it for you, most likely. Recruiters, are a double-edged sword, and I wouldn't trust them on you. You need a fractional person that understands your business and will go deeper and help you select the best salespeople. And you may also have a sales management and pipeline management problem. I mean, I've doubled the sales of companies by cutting the leads the salespeople get in half before, because most salespeople don't qualify well, and therefore they spend 80% of their time on useless leads. instead of, 80% of the time on the best leads. So you've got to step back because you're focused on tactics around sales when that clearly isn't your problem from what you've said. So that's my 2 cents. I don't know if anyone else has another
No,
way.
yeah, no, no, you are right, Bob. So what we have done is we are hiring not one because our industry is very saturated in the sense that you got to have a healthcare expertise, right? If you want to work with us, so we need a FCMO, fractional CMO for healthcare. We need a fractional CMO for oil and gas and utility sector because he's specialized in the process side of things. And we have now we are I've kind of personally interviewed almost 50 of them in last 2 weeks. And I think we have some contracts out for 3 or 4 of them and see how it works out for us. So we are doing everything we can. But yeah, I mean, I'm the face of the company, and so for me, basically an enterprise architect, and I come from a strong programming background as well as marketing background. So yeah, I still end up doing a lot of stuff myself in spite of having 50 or 100 or 200 employees.
Yeah, that's a lot of people to have without having identified the 4 layers of process needed to scale, which is hiring people where you're failing most, it sounds like,
Yes.
training people and managing people. And then, of course, there's the overall strategy as to whether you're using the right offer and distribution and targeting. What that those last 3 things are marketing, but the others are all about, on the ground sales. And I don't know your industry in great depth.
Yeah.
And I find recruiters overvalue industry experience because you could pick up a new industry in 2 weeks or a month, and sales skills and leadership and management and other things take decades to build up. So you
Uh,
generally don't want to limit yourself to hiring salespeople or anyone else out of a single industry because it's a horizontal skill, or more appropriately, a horizontal art that takes many years to perfect, whether it's with neuroplasticity or with good critical thinking and discipline around the sales process.
Okay. Well, excellent, excellent. So, Bob, our problem is not being good. I mean, we have never made a loss in any of the ventures we have done. So we make money, but the cash flow is thin, right? It's lean. So if you make like 200, $300,000 in a year, that's very lean for us. Like it's like, hey, that's the money left end of the year after we have 150 employees. That's not okay. I mean, sometimes we make half a million, $1 million at the end of the year, but so the difference is now we want to move from being just good to being great. Like we want to scale up, and scaling is where we are having an issue, right? I mean, we still have clients. So when the client works with us, we deliver more than that he asked for, and we are very fair to them. So they will never go away. That's what is keeping us going, and referral clients, right? Those are the two that keeps us going. But getting net new logo accounts is where the challenge is coming from, right? Um, and again, as I said, like it's the perception of good, right? If you think, hey, making $500,000 a year is great, then yeah, we're doing great. But from my perspective, because I retired at 50 and I'm now going to be 60, the last 10 years, I'm trying to make it from good to great, which is where I'm failing. And I get it. I failed, right? So, but we will not give up till we kind of reach there.
Yeah, there's
but you're
something
still
wrong with your
alive.
business model that you're not understanding, and you need some input from C-level people on adjusting your business model. But we should give other people time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
you
we do
can you
have
can reach out to
C-level
me, Bob.
people at our
Yeah,
mastermind. I put in the
right.
chat box our
It's
mastermind session.
getting like a discussion. So maybe we can take it offline with Bob, right? Bob, you can reach out to me. We can have a discussion on the side.
What are the big ideas that you're facing in your industry, your business, the challenges to that, and how are you showing up? Let's start with the big ideas.
Well, I want 1.2 million this year. It's a big idea. And I'm looking for a grant writer now. But doing the master class, this guy's been wanting me to do it for 3 years, and he promised me 5 times my investment. So I think the master class, I'm finally convinced that it's the thing to do. And I think being on neuromarketing and neuro selling is, you know, neuro everything is in, and I've been doing it for 50 years. So I have the depth of experience in it. But I think that's applicable to the business world more than anything I've offered before, and to entrepreneurs, solopreneurs. I think there was always a gap, and I'm excited about filling that. And I've done sales programs. One of my books is Forget Selling, but this is taking it to a different level that I think is more relevant to where we are, because brains are being rewired by dopamine, by AI, by screen time. And so it's a matter, does the brain hurt us and hinder us, or does it help us? And I think teaching people how we can capitalize and monetize how we think is going to make a big difference. I like what I have to offer, a sector I didn't have before.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, the brain always helps us, but you got to take care of the brain. Sleep,
Well, if you
rest,
take
and
care of it, it
exercise.
doesn't. If you have self-limiting beliefs on the subconscious level, it sabotages you. You got to
Yeah, yeah,
know
yeah.
where the switch is. Okay, I'll shut up.
Well, yeah, if you show up and can help somebody get in the right direction.
Well,
AI, on the other
and
thing,
I know, Rocky, you were talking about healthcare. I just did a big conference in LA, and I did it on brains, biology, and belief, and that hit home for a lot of people. It's really providing brain hacks for health and vitality, and so that I'm kind of hitting the healthcare world, which is good because that is where I come from originally.
well, the brain part, it's got to include not just the human brain, but also the artificial brain.
But you
There's
got
no
to know
doubt in
their
my,
brain. You got to know how they think. If you're going to sell to them, it's not about you. It's about knowing them better than they know themselves.
yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think AI jump starts that, or at least it has for me.
Yeah.
When I get stuck, I go to AI and all of a sudden it jump starts my thinking. I still have to think or edit more. So let
Prompts.
me open.
And I'm going to include, I don't like the word mindset. It's not set, it's mind mastery. But it includes that, to clean out the good. I was just listening to John Azaraf. They went from nothing to 4.5 billion in sales at Remax when they started doing brain training. They were doing all this strategy, skill training. People weren't doing it. People have the same New Year's resolution year after year after year. I mean, good intentions, but until you get people disciplined and in the habit, I mean, motivation is overrated. You got discipline to just do it and get in the habit of success. That's when we start seeing the change. And then from there, I go into how to pitch the brain, how to message things where the subconscious, where the brain circuits, the fear is activated because people they either want to move away from fear or toward pleasure. More important, more powerful is moving away from fear. So it's teaching people how to bait things, how to put message and have a hook just to get them distracted. So they stop the scrolling. So they stop the swiping is a big thing these days because the brains are rewired. Our attention span is like that of an ant. So anyway, it's learning how to do the copy, how to do the messaging with the help of AI. I mean, he was just saying, John Azaraf was just saying, he does an ebook and 1 hour as a free gift. And it looks good with AI, with Canva, Perplexity and so forth. Yeah, he can get it done in an hour. So it really does help us get more bait out there for those people that are fishing for what we have to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. I embrace
Yeah.
that tremendously. It's working out really well for me. Let's hear from Bob Norton. Bob is a serial entrepreneur. He started 6 businesses. He has 2 businesses now. He has a CEO boot camp. He works with small, medium, and large size companies and has over 600 modules of recording. Bob, maybe you could say it better than I can about your business. What are the big ideas that you envision in 2025? What obstacles do you see that would hinder that? How are you showing up? But let's start with big ideas. Bob Norton.
Yeah, sure. Quick note to Edie first, though. John Asraf and I are good friends. Edie, I'm often a guest, and I've been his strategy coach and CEO coach since 2010. So I'm pretty deep into the neuromarketing space as well. And mindset, whether you like the term or not, I teach about the reticular activating system and the law of attraction, positive psychology in my management courses as well. But my big idea is to help break the limits on companies that scale. Most companies, only 1 in 400 companies will actually reach 10 million in sales, which is a small company by most measures. And only 1 in 6,300 companies will ever reach $100 million in sales, which I did twice in a row with my own startups, founding 4 companies and selling 4 companies over 14 years during the serial entrepreneur phase of my career. And I created an average of $71 million in equity value per year over that 14 years for over $1 billion in sales value across those 4 companies. But what we've built is a drop-in leadership and management operating system that gives companies the discipline for the right amount of cadence. There's 6 separate systems that are independent. And Jim Collins, author of Good to Great and many other books, his research shows that the average company takes 8 to 10 years to figure out these systems on their own. And our value proposition is to offer a 1 year program that will do all of that would normally take 7 to 10 years by dropping in the pre-built systems and have a combination of training, coaching, and consulting. And for that, we get a small piece of the company, which in stock options, which allows us to do it at sort of a break-even cost that should have a 50x ROI. So that's our big idea. We want to become the gold standard in this new space of leadership operating systems for growth companies that are investor worthy. But the answer is 100 different things that you have to do well. There's discipline. There's, using a learning organization. There's Kaizen, which is constant improvement and pushing innovation down and having a culture of innovation. The answer that we have for that would encompass it all is create a culture that we call a Darwinian meritocracy. And that means it evolves as the company grows and as the competitive landscape and socioeconomic factors change. And the culture is based on merit, so it will attract and keep the best people. And that means you need to be growing them professionally, internally. About 75% of employees want professional development. And that's one of we bring the 55 courses with 600 modules to our clients because the number one limit on the growth of companies is not sales, it's not marketing, it's not even operations, it's internally growing managers. Because if you're going to grow at a rapid rate, you need to promote people, and that will keep them there and prevent turnover. And it will also preserve the institutional knowledge instead of having it leaking out. And in most service companies, you're essentially training your competitors every day because they'll come in and they'll work for you a few years. Like in real estate, that's a pure service business, and they'll be opening up a competitive real estate firm across the street from you. Once they get 4 or 5 years experience, right? So you've got to have a proprietary element. You've got to have high differentiation, and you've got to have barriers to entry or a secret sauce and protection around whatever that differentiator is. So that's the seed or the core of it. But excellence in strategy and excellence in execution requires creativity and intellectual or critical thinking around adjusting the business as it goes. Most people can't make the shift from a micromanager and a product person to what's necessary. We have a 5 stage model, and you have to act differently as a leader and as a manager as the company gets bigger. Obviously, systematizing, putting in processes, running businesses by the numbers. There's 5 styles of management we teach, and every manager needs to know all of them because in any given situation, you have to pick out which one to use. Those are micromanagement, management by objective or OKR, which is monthly goal setting, management by exception, which is running the business by the numbers, where you have KPIs for inputs and outputs to measure the productivity and effectiveness and quality of every major process in the business. And then leadership, which is broadcasting management and the vision and aligning people, and management by wandering around, which routes out politics in an organization. Because as it gets bigger, there's always a creep in of politics, which drains the value that you're creating for customers to go towards non-productive things. So, I could go on and on about this. As I said, the answer is hundreds of things, but there's a dozen that people fail at all the time. Matter of fact, they fail at it, 99.25% of the time, since only 1 in 400 companies ever reaches 10 million.
That, Bob, a tagline, maybe more than anything else, just show up. Just show up. And maybe that condenses it too much.
I think it was Woody Allen that says, 90% of success is showing up, but that sort of ignores the 30 years of building up your neuroplasticity and your skill set and
Yeah.
intuition and your experience and all those other things. Look at the sign in the back of me here, right? I'm not saying it's going to be easy, because it is, a journey of building yourself and, adding skills, and of course coming up with complementary management team. You cannot build a skyscraper alone. You can build a tiny house alone, but if you're going to build a skyscraper, most of the CEO's time is working on the business, not in the business, which means building the team, coaching up the team, long-term planning and strategy, and aligning that team constantly on a monthly cycle with MBO, and then a quarterly and annual cycle to potentially adjust the strategic plan or pivot or add new products or whatever.
Do this for entrepreneurs, simply because I am one, but also because we put professional speakers as well. And the key is that we can connect together and be able to work together. My invitation is, of course, that you also join our world of CoVentures and participate. I'm looking for somebody that is doing business to business or business to government, has a product or service. So it means they're in business and they're willing to do a revenue share. And also, too, that you might consider joining us in our mastermind session. And you can go to coventures.pro, and I put it in the chat box, and get an opportunity to speak to other people like Bob Norton, like Evie Rather, like Sam, and be able to engage with them and perhaps actually do business together. So my invitation is that you join us. We have a kickoff, start-off meeting on December 2nd. And the opportunity is that you can join us and be able to participate freely. And we're going to test it out and do that freely on a monthly basis. And there is for those that want to be continuing on a weekly basis, there is a fee to do that as well. So